Hi, if you've ever wanted to be the best therapist you could possibly be, then I have the training for you. Hi, my name's Barry Neal and I've spent over 47 years studying hypnosis. I first started learning hypnosis when I was 13 years old. I've been an NLP trainer for like 28 years now. I've been a trainer of hypnotherapy for over 28 years now. But not only that, I've also built a thriving practice. For the last 30 odd years, all I have done as my sole form of income is to work with clients. So unlike a lot of NLP trainers or hypnosis trainers out there who just do trainings, I see clients on a daily basis. I still see clients today on a daily basis. So I've got a ton of experience that I can share with you. And in this training, I've tried to give you as much information as I possibly can and as many tools as you can possibly have. You need to have a big toolbox. Some people will tell you that, oh, I've just created this one technique. This one technique works 100% of the time, with 100% of the problems, with 100% of the people. Well, if you hear that, run a mile and keep a hold of your wallet because you're about to get ripped off. Because no technique works 100% of the time with 100% of the problems. This is why you need a big toolbox if you're going to be an effective therapist. Because you need to have many different ways of working. Because some things will work really great with some people and not so great with other people. So you need to be able to move and shift. Now, this training is so complete. I've searched my memory banks and all my notes from everything I've learned over this whole period to find out, right, what are the bits that work? Discarded the bits that don't, and I created a training that covers all the things that I use on a daily basis to help clients to change rapidly and permanently. And there's so much in this training that I've had to write down what's in it because I can't, I couldn't just do this video on the fly because there's too much to remember. It's so important that I give you all the information so that you can make the right decision to sign up for this training. So first of all, we're going to be looking at, first of all, how do people think? There's no point in just learning a bunch of techniques. So many trainings now, I just see people just getting technique after technique after technique, but they don't understand why they work or, what's supposed to be happening. So you need to understand how people think. You also need to understand why they do what they do. People don't use these behaviors randomly. They are serving a purpose. And when you understand what they're trying to do by doing these behaviors, then you can make changes much more effectively, much more powerfully than just using a technique. You're going to be learning how to use specific types of questions to get to the heart of the real problem. Because a lot of times clients will come in and they'll be a bit vague about what their problem is, or they might describe it in big terms like I have anxiety or I have depression. Well, you can't work with that. You need to narrow it down. So you need to understand how to use questions to get to the real underlying issue that you can work with. You're then going to learn how to use language to influence the person's mind. Because when we understand how people think, we can start using language specifically to create internal representations in the minds of our clients before we even get to the change work patterns. So this gets really powerful. You're going to learn how to use verb tenses to put problems in the past. So often I hear therapists, they do a great piece of work and then they make a statement, they say something to the client, they ask them a question, presupposing that the problem is still present. And as a result, they install the problem again, they reignite it. You're going to learn how to use verb tenses to put the problems in the past where they belong. You're going to learn how to define problems. Again, if you're working with something like anxiety or depression, it's this huge, great thing. It's very difficult to work with that. So you need to learn how to define it and to find exactly where it's happening and what's happening, because there's 4 things you need to do to understand how to create change in situations like that. There's 4 things you need to know. You're going to learn how to use real conversational change. Now, I'm not just talking about a clever little language pattern. I'm talking about how to really create lasting change, conversation. Literally, you can have a conversation with someone and they change. And on the training, you'll see me working with someone over Zoom, just creating conversational change quickly. The whole session takes about 10 minutes and the person's life's changed. So you're going to learn how to do this. You're going to learn how to create change using anchors and anchoring. You probably haven't thought about it before, but most people's problems are a result of a negative anchor. And some of the best ways of solving those problems are by using anchoring, because that's how the problem's created. So you're going to learn how to create lasting change using anchors. And let me tell you, I speak to a lot of therapists, and sometimes people say, well, I've tried anchoring, but that doesn't work. And I think, well, what do you do? And she says, well, that's that thing where you just rub your thumb and forefinger together. That's not anchoring. That's not how you get the power of anchoring. So we're going to learn how to do that properly. You're going to learn how to change negative memories. So people come in and they often have these traumatic images and thoughts in their mind. You're going to learn how to create change very, very quickly using specific techniques. And we've got a number of different techniques that we can work with. So if people have got traumatic memories and upsetting memories, you're going to learn how to deal with them very, very quickly without necessarily going back to some root cause and spending hours bashing pillows and screaming about their mother. You're going to literally be able to change them in a heartbeat. You're going to learn how to do hypnosis, and you're going to learn how to do hypnosis easily. I'm going to demystify the process. And if you've heard me talk before, my views of hypnosis are based on the solid research from people like T.X. Barber, Chavez, Irving Kirsch, Stephen K. Lynn, the modern approach, because in my opinion and the opinion of these scientists and researchers, hypnosis isn't some magical mystical thing. It's not an altered state or trance or relaxation. And when you demystify it, it becomes so easy, and you can understand what you're doing and why you're doing it and how to create change using hypnosis. So we're going to learn how to do hypnosis very, very easily. You're going to learn the power of NLP to create lasting change. And again, NLP is not just a bunch of techniques. It's a methodology, it's a way of thinking. And you're going to learn how to do that. And within that, you're going to learn a 5-step process, an underlying process that underlines all effective therapeutic interactions. So you can know where you are in any situation so that you can create change very, very quickly and know what's happening and know what the feedback you're getting. You're going to learn how to do online inductions. Let's face it, in the last couple of years, many of us have transitioned from working one-on-one to working online. And for some, that's created a big problem because they weren't quite sure how to do inductions online. And let me tell you, the worst thing you can do is to do like a progressive muscle relaxation induction online, because what happens if they fall asleep? You can't reach over and give them a little shake. So we need to do better inductions. So we need to adapt some of the traditional inductions, like say, for example, the Elman induction. We need to adapt it so we can work online. And we need to be able to do that quickly and easily. You're going to learn the 5 steps to effective therapy. Once you get these 5 steps, everything becomes easy. In the course of the course, you're going to see dozens of change patterns with demos. So I'm literally going to go through dozens of different therapy models, dozens of different techniques, and show you, break them down, show you how they work, and also demonstrate them with real clients over Zoom. You are also going to learn, and this is the first time I've taught this, you're going to learn the basics of eye movement integration. What is eye movement integration? Well, I'm sure many of you have heard of EMDR. EMDR has the person think of a particular memory and has them move their eyes from side to side, kind of bilateral stimulation. Eye movement integration was created by Steve and Connie Ray Andreas in the late 1980s, and it uses the understanding of NLP to create a much more powerful method of using eye movements to create rapid change. And this is a fantastic method that you can use, and it works with emotions, it works with traumatic memories, and it works so quickly. So if you're working with people with trauma, this is such a powerful tool to learn. So you're going to be learning eye movement integration, and there's very few places around where you can actually learn this. Well, you're going to be able to learn this on this course. I'm also going to cover EFT and tapping. EFT is one of those things that's been around for quite a while now, but if you don't know it, you really should. I was one of the first people in the UK to train in EFT back in the late 1990s. At that time, it was only available on a home study course, and it was on VHS video, if you remember those things. So I've been doing EFT for a long, long time. I was one of the first people in the UK to do it. So I've got tons of experience with EFT and various other tapping modalities as well. So we're going to be looking at tapping. So you're going to learn how to do that as well. You're going to learn how to use tests and convincers. It's really important, if you're going to do hypnosis, that you prove hypnosis. One of the things you often hear if you're a therapist is you'll have someone come in and they say, well, I went to Fred down the road for some hypnosis, but I don't think I was hypnotized because I could hear every word. And because of that, there's no belief and expectancy built up, and that's why the session didn't work. You have to use tests and convincers if you're doing straightforward hypnosis, to prove hypnosis, to build that belief and expectancy. Irving Kirsch has gone on record to say that hypnosis is a non-deceptive mega placebo. And what he means by that is it builds belief and expectancy. Because the person believes and expects, they change. So we need to learn to do that. So we need to learn to do tests and convincers, and you're also going to learn how to utilize those convincers in the actual therapy, because that's an important part of it. You're also going to learn how to do hypnosis and therapy without scripts. Now, if you have ever seen any of my comments on some of the Facebook groups, you know I'm pretty much against scripts. They just don't work. And the other problem with them is you never know who's writing them. You know, is that person really an expert in that particular thing? And the answer is typically no. So you're going to learn how to do therapy without scripts. And that doesn't mean you're going to wing it. There's another big misconception that people think is, oh, well, if you're not working without scripts, what are you doing? Trusting your unconscious mind? No, you're working methodically. You understand what you're doing and you do it. So it's not about just winging it by any stretch of the imagination. You're going to learn how to use modern age regression. There's a couple of different ways of doing age regression, and the traditional way that was came from Watkins and then into Ellman and then Gil Boyne and Jerry Kine, very effective method, really hard on the client, can be quite hard on the therapist as well, and it comes with a lot of potential problems. If you doubt that it comes with problems, I highly recommend reading a book called Making Monsters by Richard Offshay, which was published in about 1995. It will really explain how there can be real problems with that type of age regression. In this type of age regression, we're going to do it in a specific way that's really kind on the client, that they can let go of all sorts of negative emotions like anger, fear, and guilt, and sadness without having to re-experience it. We don't want to re-traumatize them in any way, shape, or form. You're also going to, as part of learning that, learn a powerful technique called re-imprinting, which really changes these early imprints so that people's not just release emotion, but their behaviors change as well. They learn how to deal with people which perhaps they haven't been able to deal with before. We're then going to look at a specific type of bilateral therapy, which is such a powerful technique. And in this training, you're going to see me at a workshop working with people. And I asked for someone to come up as a volunteer who's got a problem that is a memory that's so severe that they can't even think about it. And a woman volunteers, and when she says what the problem is, everyone in the room gasps, including me, because it's like, geez. And yet 5 minutes later, she's able to talk about this problem without any emotional content at all. So this powerful technique is really, really useful for those types of issues which are really traumatic that the people don't even want to think about. You know, if they even try and think about them, they burst into floods of tears. Well, this technique helps us to deal with those types of things very, very quickly. So this is just some of the things that we're going to be going on. Now, as a bonus, you're going to get all the masterclasses I've done, which include stop smoking. So you're going to learn how to be a stop smoking expert. And I'm going to teach you how to earn anything from 250 to 500, 600, 700 pounds an hour as a stop smoking therapist. And if you don't know, 20 years ago, I ran a training in the UK, a 4-day training on teaching stop smoking. And it was entitled at the time, How to Earn £1,000 a Day as a Stop Smoking Specialist. And that particular training then, I charged £5,000 for that training. Well, you're going to get all the main skills in this masterclass. So that's included. Also, we're going to look at weight loss. So you're going to become a weight loss expert. You're going to know how to work with weight loss so you can get lasting change. And tell you, weight loss clients can be some of the most trickiest clients you can ever work with. So you need to understand how to do that. And again, this is not about reading them scripts. We're going to look at parts therapy. And again, parts therapy is one of those things where you can do real good with it, but you can also do real harm with it. And there are a couple of different parts therapies which are out there, which quite frankly frighten the life of me. And again, if you read Making Monsters by Richard Offshore, you'll understand why. This way of working is not like that. You can work with incongruence that the client has, but you can create wholeness. So what we're going to do is create wholeness using parts therapy. You're going to learn how to be an expert working with depression as well. And again, this can be a tricky area for some people. But in this masterclass, I go through exactly how you can work with depression to get long-term results. We're going to look at pain. How do you work with pain? This can be one of the most powerful areas that you can work with, because when people are in pain, it really affects the quality of their life. And if you can take someone, let's say they're experiencing pain on the level of, say, of 0 to 10, and it's like 8 or 9 every single day, it's going to really affect the quality of their life. But if you can bring that down to maybe 2 or 3 or even 0, you're going to magically radically change their life. It's going to be incredible. So pain is one of those things you really need to learn how to work with. You're also going to learn how to work with fears and phobias. And this is one of the things, again, as hypnotherapists and NLP practitioners, you really need to be good at, because people will always come in with fears and phobias, and it's one of the easiest things you can work with. You're also going to learn how to work with anxiety and panic attacks. Anxiety and panic attacks are on the rise. In this last few years, the anxiety levels have gone up through the roof. So if you can set yourself up as the local expert for dealing with anxiety and panic attacks, you are going to really have a thriving practice. We're going to also go through an anchoring masterclass. Now, we're going to do that in a couple of ways. There's the masterclass itself, but also some footage of me at a training demonstrating anchoring very, very quickly. And so there's nearly 20 hours of bonus material. So this is a huge, huge training. And I haven't even tallied up the hours of the actual training. It's huge. It's probably bigger than you'd ever see anywhere else. If we were to do this as a live training, you'd probably have to take a month off. So that's the content. So what do you then get at the end of it? Well, once you've been through the training, you're going to have to give me some case studies or some information, and we'll have a chat. But you then, once you've been through that, you'll be certified as a hypnotherapist. You'll also be certified as an NLP practitioner. And then you'll be certified, which is because I put all these things together, as an accelerated change therapist. And this is going to be like the big certificate, is what you're going to be trained at is an accelerated change therapist. Because I want to kind of separate this up from, it's not just hypnosis, it's not just NLP, it's not just eye movements, it's not just tapping, it's everything you need to create accelerated change rapidly with your clients. And so we're going to be certified as an accelerated change therapist. So this is a really powerful training. I hope to see you there. If you have any questions, drop me a line. I'll be glad to answer them for you. And this is going to be the biggest training that you probably will ever take in your life. And it will transform the way you do therapy. So I hope to see you there.